Hey, this is MAXHALO and I'll be doing a review of Halo Spartan Assault. This is a new game. It came out last month now. Unlike other Halos, it's a top-down shooter, which is fairly unique.
Loading up records for the Battle of Dratheus 5. The fighting started when a splinter sect of Covenant ignored the ceasefire of 2552 and attacked UNSC forces. By the time the fighting was done, well, it didn't end well for the UNSC or the Covenant, either one. Spartans Davis and Palmer were both stationed on Dratheus 5's moon at the time of the first attack. Let's see how they succeeded in repelling the first assault waves.
I won't be playing all the missions in order, I'll just select a few favourites of mine. You've got classic Halo weapons here, and you can spend experience or credits on new weapons to change out your loadout. The game expects you to pay for the credits, and unfortunately there isn't a way of earning them in-game, but that's okay because never does the game actually expect you to get them. It's never required for a mission or an achievement to use the weapons that need to be gained through credits. As you can see, the gameplay is very different from traditional Halo, but the weapons and environments still feel very familiar. I'm playing this on Windows 8 currently. You can get this game on Windows Phone or Windows 8. It's a shame they didn't make it more widely available, because I think this would have been a big hit on Xbox Live Arcade. Gameplay is fun, it's pretty addictive actually. I've got quite a few games on my PC, but usually when I finish the campaigns, I don't really go back to them very quickly. It normally takes me a few months before I really want to go back and play them again. I finished the campaign on this one just a couple days ago, and I've still played it every day since. It's been quite an addictive game. After each level you're rated based on your score, and then rewarded accordingly. Bronze, gold and silver each paying out a different amount of experience. In terms of gameplay, it is really quite fun and addictive. I can definitely see, if I had a Windows phone, I can see this being one of my favourite games on there. It's a shame they haven't made it available to things like iPhones and Samsung Galaxies, because I think there would be a lot of money to be made there. In spite of that though, this is a really good game. The campaign's pretty decent. It's nothing special, there's no great plot twists like in traditional Halo, but it's still a nice bit of backstory to learn about Spartan Palmer and some of the other Spartan 4s. Anyone that is a huge fan of the fiction of Halo, not just the gameplay, if you read the books or watch the anime or any of the comics, you'll definitely appreciate this. In fact, there is a new comic out recently which delves more into the backstory of Sarah Palmer and the Spartan 4 program. As you can see, it's got a lot of the classic weapons, and even these turrets here if anyone played Halo Wars, you'll recognise them from Halo Wars. They are the same type of turrets that defend the bases on Covenant base. You have classic armor abilities like Regeneration Field. They've been edited slightly for this game, but they still feel quite familiar, and they behave in the same way you'd expect them to. The weapons all feel pretty good, they handle well enough. I've not really used all of them yet, but there are some returns like the Brute Shot, which are quite useful in the later missions and quite fun to use. And I really do enjoy the top-down perspective, it reminds me a lot of Halo Wars. In terms of overall mission structure, it is really enjoyable, although I would like to see a bit more variety. Some of the best missions, in my opinion, are the vehicle sections. They're the most fun, without a doubt. And before I end the review, I will be going to one of those now. This is a classic. You can see some Wolverines here in the corner, and the Grizzly tank from Halo Wars. This thing is a beast. It is probably the most fun level, in my opinion, this whole game. Personally, I'd love to see more of the Grizzly tank. I really hope they bring it back for Halo 5, because it would be awesome to see the to be able to drive this thing in Halo 5. It handles pretty well here, and we can see the size of it compared to the Scorpions and the kind of power it can do. It can one shot and it can kill a Wraith. So you can sort of see how it would be good, and this little Marine here glitching trying to get on the treads. You can actually see the Marines getting on the treads just on the size alone. Whoops, friendly fire. Just based on the size of the treads, you could fit about 8 Marines on in total. I mean, imagine a Halo 5 level like that on a Grizzly tank, 8 Marines, just raining death down upon Forerunner and Covenant units. That's another thing, there aren't really any Forerunner enemies in this game, and there aren't any Flood. It's pretty much pure Covenant, but that's because this is set before the events of Halo 4, and it's basically explaining about the Covenant responsible for breaking the truce. All in all, I think this is a very fun game, but I do think they should have rethought their market a little bit, maybe not restricted it to Windows 8. I can see why they did that, because they wanted more people to get Windows 8 and Windows phones. So this was obviously a way for them to try and sell more of that, try and get more people to buy it. But personally, I think they would have made more money if they released this to a broader audience. So I don't really think this game would convince anyone to buy a Windows phone or to buy Windows 8, but I already owned Windows 8, and I have found it very enjoyable. It's one of those nice little games where you don't have to spend a whole day playing through the campaign. It's just addictive and fun, and that to me is one of its highlights. fact that you don't need to pour an entire day into this. I mean, you could easily complete this within a couple hours, to be honest, but keeping in mind, I think this was made more for phones than it was for mainstream computing. It wasn't really made for computers so much as it was for phones, and you can kind of tell. But it's still really fun, and it's one of those things you can just play it a little bit, like, you know, if you're working on an essay and you get a bit bored, you can play a couple of missions. It's quite good for helping you get through boring college work, or any kind of work you've got to do on a computer, really. You get bored, you can always just play this for a bit. Really good way to kill the time. Ooh, took me down. Yeah, ghosts and vehicles will pretty much one-hit you if you touch them, but you can hijack them just like the other Halos. It's just a lot riskier. All in all, I would have to give this game a 7 out of 5. It's addictive, and it's really fun. It reminds me of classics like Smash TV, which I probably will go and play. If you like top-down shooters, I recommend it. If you're a fan of Halo, I recommend it. I mean, in a world of first-person shooters that are just repeating the same formula over and over again to the point where everyone hates them, it's nice to see that Halo is still trying to be a bit unique and original, and it's not limiting itself to just being an FPS. Halo Wars was a strategy, now we've had this. There was even a Halo RPG in the works that got canned. So it's nice to see in a world of FPSs that not every first-person shooter series has to confine itself to just rinse and repeat. Some of them do try and be original. So for that, I'm giving it a fair 7 out of 5. It's nothing spectacular like the other Halos, but I don't think anyone expected it to be. But what it is it's fun, it's addictive, it's a good way to kill time. Bit more backstory if you're a Halo fanatic like I am. I don't think it will convince anyone to buy Windows 8 or a Windows Phone, but if you have a Windows Phone or Windows 8, definitely give this a try. It's a great game. Anyway, that's Max Halo signing off. Thank you for watching.